work it out, and we've gone to period of peace. We have some peace poles. We've been working on painting and decorating, and we're going to put them in the ground over there next to that big tree. We suspect that ground is solid rock. So we're wondering how we're going to dig a 2-foot hole into it. I would guess that our efforts to make a 2-foot hole in solid rock will not be extremely peaceful activity.
I
No.
have some dynamite at home.
Huh?
I have some dynamite at home.
No. But so there it is. Sometimes it takes effort, and sometimes the effort is very chaotic to get things moving in the way it's peaceful. Someday, maybe we'll work out the final problem. What is the final problem?
Get back to the garden,
There you go.
as long as we're singing old songs.
Oh, no, no more songs. So it's the year 942 BC in Jerusalem. Can you imagine yourself there for a moment? There was a man, he was a traveler, and he was looking around trying to find his way to a certain house, a merchant's house, and he needed to get there really bad. But he was hopelessly lost. He was thinking back, okay, I remember a fountain that, he'd been there years before. There was a fountain near his house. Man, where is it? He kept on saying, I must find this house. To be late would be unforgivable. And he really needed a favor of this particular merchant. So then a faint memory came to him. Oh, from standing in front of this man's house, I can see the porch of the temple. So then he asked, where is the temple? Looking around, where is the temple? The temple was nowhere in sight. He walked briskly down one street, down another. Finally, between two buildings, he saw a corner of the temple. He rushed between the buildings, and there's the temple. And he walks up the street towards the temple. And by the time he got to the end of the street, he saw a fountain. And then he saw the merchant's house. And he approached the house, ready to knock on the door, but then he turned and looked back. And there he saw the porch of the great temple of King Solomon. Where is the temple? What a marvelous question for us to ask as we journey through life so that we can keep our bearings. I believe this question is absolutely crucial to ask. When we are stuck in the traffic problems of living, daily living, or stalled in our marriage or family relations, where is the temple? And where are we in relation to it? Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? Did you know that? Did you know that you're the temple of God? A house made without hands, eternal in the heavens. Let's explore this metaphor a bit further. Actually, we are the entire city, not just the temple of God. In this city, you'll find a part of you that goes to class, a part of you who falls in love, a part who fears this or that. The temple is a part of you which guides you through the human life. We are not alone. We are not left simply to drift through life unaided. The phrase, the stone which the builders rejected has become the head of the corner. It's found in 6 different places in the Bible. Maybe you've read it, but do you understand what it means? Its significance. The stone is the Christ within. This Christ is meant to be our cornerstone, that upon which all else in our life is built. It is our temple. If we work upon marble, it will perish. If we work upon brass, time will efface it. If we build temples of stone, they will crumble to dust. But to look within and see God face to face, that is eternal. Aside from the temple, there are parts of us which appear to exist outside the light. Part of us who is afraid of being loved or afraid of being alone, when in truth, we are not alone. We cannot exist outside the light because we are the light. The light of Christ, the temple of God, the cornerstone. There is a throne within, and it may be governed by one source. Not two sources, but one. The eagle self may sit on the throne. Off with their heads, if you will. Or the divine self may sit on the throne. When the eagle sits on the throne, you will catch yourself asking in distress, why do I do this or that? Or lamenting your lack of everything that you think you need. You might ask this question, why can't I have this or that? As Bob said in the movie, what about Bob? Anyone watched that one? I need, I want, give me, give me, give me. He was crazy. That's why he had a psychiatrist. And then there is a secret in the closet that you buried so long ago because you are ashamed of that part of yourself. Where does it all end? There is no darkness because everything is light. God is good. People are good. That is the reality behind our fear. That's what unity says. We just said the 4 principles. It's right there. Fear is just a construct. What does that mean, construct? Keep your eye on the temple, and fear will cease to trouble you. Why? Darkness cannot be seen within the light. It does not hold power within the light. You don't reason with darkness. You need only open your eyes and see the light, and then the fear is no longer. How does one call the darkness into the light? Darkness to the light? This is how, by knowing who you are. And as you know who you are unafraid because the truth of who you are is never afraid. And who are you? The temple of God. When God said in the book of Revelation, I will give you some of the hidden manna. He was making reference to manna as it was placed in the Ark of the Covenant. Does anyone recall that in the Old Testament? When they were entering the new land, they took some manna, they took a branch, they had a bud coming out of it, even though it was already cut. Kind of magical. And the manna didn't rot like it used to. And he put it in the ark, and he put it there so they could always remember this journey they made through the desert. And the journey was to freedom. So it was to remember their freedom. So anyways, that's in case you didn't remember. So he was making reference to the manna, okay, that's in the ark. If you look into your own personal Holy of Holies, you will find that hidden manna. Oh, I read a story I've got to relate to you. It's this couple, they bought a piece of property out in Eagle Creek, Oregon. It's kind of southeast of Portland. It was way out there, and it was in terrible shape. They had a one bedroom shack, a shack, and it was filled with garbage. Oh, I bought houses like that. And of course, you make money on houses like that usually. But anyways, then the blackberries had taken over. They were everywhere. They were so thick you couldn't walk anywhere on the property. So they got a good price. Their plan was to clean out the shack and live there, and then work on the property and clean off the blackberries. And then they were going to put a nice manufactured home on the property. A year later, they're working on clearing one of the pastures, and they come across a gnarly bunch of blackberries. It was worse than they'd seen anywhere else. And they were working on it, and they finally cut through it and kind of made like a tunnel so they could see through it. And through this green tunnel, they could see a house. There was a house under those blackberries. It was hidden from view. No one could see it. It was so hidden. And guess what? It was a nice house. It was as good as a manufactured home they were going to put on the property once they cleared it of blackberries. It's, what do you say? Only this could only happen in Oregon, by the way. Only. Nowhere else in the world could someone find a house buried by blackberries and no one, including the seller, know it's there. Where is your hidden house? Where is your temple? When God said in the book of Revelation, I will give you a white stone, and on the white stone will be written a new name. He was referring to a new life, a life of freedom in which you enter. which you will enter into once you have found the temple within. A while ago, I was walking through the garden with Cheryl, someone else's garden, and I marveled how beautiful it was and God's creations. Then I noticed this little bloom, there's all flowers everywhere, but I looked down and just this little bloom. It's a tiny little flower. Well, I've always liked this flower. I don't know why. It's just kind of like neglected and it's so beautiful. And the name of it is Forget Me Not. I don't know why I like this flower. Any of you been attracted to this thing? It's just beautiful. And the big flowers may just be shining out or anything, but the color, the rich color of blue in these little flowers is so nice. And so I always take my time and look down at them. Now there's this German legend which says that just as God was finishing naming all the plants, there was this voice. One of them, there was one of them that was left unnamed, and a little tiny voice called out, "Oh Lord, forget me not." And God replied, "As you wish. And so, forget me not shall be your name." So, what is your name? What is that word that the scriptures call your new name? What does it describe? It describes what we look like when we step back into the moment before the world of our thoughts and feelings came into existence. I'm going to repeat that. It describes what we look like when we step back into the moment before the world of our thoughts and feelings came into existence. The universe has always perceived us in our truest form. That is your temple. Your state of being without your thoughts and feelings is your temple, your primordial self. This is the ancient part of us, which is older than the stars in the heaven. It is older than our souls. The Chinese call it our original face. We can, as mortals, become aware of this ancient part of us. Can we? Yes. If so, then how do we get there? First, let's not think in terms of obstacles. The most efficient way to enter your inner temple is not through effort. My teacher once told me, bless him, "Larry, you are missing the point. Oneness with God is not a meditation. It is a state of being. So stop trying to find the perfect technique or meditation that will take you there. Oneness with God is a product of personal growth. When a rose is growing in your garden, aiming for the sunlight, it will give forth a beautiful, glorious flower. One that smells good, hopefully. It doesn't think, what are the obstacles to overcome before I can bloom? It simply grows, taking the good and the bad as they come, with the assurance that one day the flower will appear. Okay, a few months ago, I told a story. Remember the story about the man that was stuck on that crumbling rocky ledge overlooking the ocean, and there were angry waves crashing down there, and he was scared. And he knew he had to jump. Someone was saying, "Jump, jump." And he looked down, he couldn't see anything. He didn't know how far away anyone was. And it was safe on the ledge, but the ledge was crumbling and it wasn't going to be there very much longer. But he says, "I am most likely jumping to my death." But he didn't have a choice. It was either jump or die. In the end, he did jump. He let go and fell a short distance into a rowboat. Was taken a boat, taken ashore, taken to a harbor where his friends were waiting for him. They embraced, glad to see him alive. Everything was as it was before. But nothing was the same as before, and he couldn't explain it. Yet it should be obvious, but it happened. A part of him had died in the angry surf. The eagle stepped off the throne and allowed the divine self to sit there. Oh, how many of you love C.S. Lewis? I mean, it's a screw tape letters. How could you get more diabolic than that? I'm going to just throw this in. Those were the screw tape letters. Each chapter was an article in a magazine. I can't remember the name of the magazine. And it was so disturbing. There was one minister who wrote them a letter and says, I'm canceling my subscription to this magazine. Those articles, screw tape letters are diabolical. They don't belong in print anywhere. Burn them, burn them. Anyway, so he quit. But I really like the screw tape letters. And this is something that C.S. Lewis said. I think it was in Mere Christianity, this book it came from. This is what he says that God said. Give me all. I don't want so much of your time and so much of your money and so much of your work. I want you. I have not come to torment your natural self, but to kill it. No half measures are any good. I don't want cut a branch off here and a branch there. I want the whole tree down. I don't want to drill a tooth or crown it. I want it out. Hand over your whole natural self, all the desires you think innocent and the ones you think wicked, the whole outfit. And I would give you a new self instead. In fact, I would give you myself. My own will shall become yours. If the man had known what jumping would do to him, he may not have had the courage to do it. But he did jump. It all worked out, and he was rescued. But it took faith, a jump of faith. This is what I'm talking about here, a jump of faith. You're asked by a voice within if you wish to enter this new world, the kingdom of God, and you say yes, not knowing what that actually means. I'll tell you what it means. Every fear you have ever had is left behind. Every regret is forgotten. You ask, what is darkness? And you can no longer find the answer. Every question is answered, but not because you know the answers. You simply lose the need to know. It is as if the questions and answers belong to another world, the mortal world. And so they do. A Course in Miracles says there is no part of heaven you can take and weave into illusions, nor is there one illusion you can enter heaven with. Now, this is not as easy as you might think, because there are, in fact, quite a few obstacles to circumvent first. The good news is that these obstacles are more like mirages than anything else. Therefore, we need only look within, not knowing what you will find. To look until you no longer, to look until this no longer frightens you. To look until what you see no longer appears to be evil or an error or in any way falling short of the glory of God. It takes faith to look within until you're having a clear and unobstructed view of the eyes of God looking back. Yet, whose eyes are these, really and truly? I am looking at God right now, in this moment, and what I'm seeing are your eyes. You and I are expressions of God in this world. And when I look at this divine expression, I see the most beautiful thing imaginable. I see you. The angels of God could not light up this world any better. The sun and all the stars pale in comparison to your brilliance. I am a light, you are a light, we are a light in this world. A woman approaching the end of her mortal life wrote this entry in her journal to her late husband. Long after we divorced, long after you died of alcoholism, I still remember the day when I stepped out of the clinic, blinked hard against my tears, sank into your beat-up bug, pulled the door shut, and whispered, I'm pregnant. Life is a real event, not a fairy tale. Allow life to blossom. Surrender to as many shades and colors, the ups and the downs. Then and only then will you see and feel the serenity of your original face. Where is the temple? What a marvelous question for us to ask as we journey through life so that we can keep our bearings. There are some words I like to share with you in our meditation time. So take some deep breaths. Unclench your fist if they're clenched. Smile. Take some more deep breaths. Prepare yourself for the meditative state. And I'm going to say a word of praise and then say it with me in your mind and let it just float easily into your silence as I pause between each phrase. May the grace of God be with you always in your heart. May you know your truth. May you find your strength. You are beautiful. And you are part of something beautiful. You are a light shining within the light. You are the grace of God. You are the face of God. You are